nobody's supposed to be on the line.
But I am on the line.
I don't get it. Oh, I get it. Nobody's on the line. Okay, well, carry on, carry on.
And now, live from his city room performance only at Cedar Heights, here's Dave. Live, straight from Port Orchard, directly from Cedar Heights, here's Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, on this stage tonight, for one performance only, straight from his last public performance at Cedar Heights, here's Dave.
Oh no, this is awful. Do they honestly expect me to go out there on stage in front of all these people and recite my Christmas poem? Oh man, they got to be crazy. This place is packed. Oh, man, I don't remember signing up for this thing anyway. I mean, I was just scratching my head and the teacher volunteered me. Oh man, and there's just some tough acts to follow too. I don't know if I can do it. I mean, me of all people, I get so nervous talking in front of people. I hate it. Sometimes I get so scared that my knees knock together when I'm just talking to myself. Oh, hey, and there's Vern and Lynn waving at me. What's she waving? Is that a dollar bill? Does she think she's going to get me to come out there for just a lousy buck? I mean, come on, Brad's friends gave him $5. Uh-oh. Now the pastor's waving at me. I don't see any money, though. I guess I better get out there. The Lord said he'd go with me anywhere. I guess that means center stage, so here goes. Rejoice, rejoice. Praise the Lord. Rejoice, rejoice, sing out in joy. King is born this day. Mary's little baby boy asleep upon the hay. God's only Son has come to earth. Let all the world rejoice and celebrate his holy birth. Lift up your voice. That wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad at all. You know, I can kind of get used to this being on stage stuff. Being out in front of everybody, having their undivided attention, just having everybody listen to every word you say. Oh, and there's Dave with his video camera. I hope he gets my good side. Say, he's got 5.5 hours of videotape left. Maybe I better just say that poem one more time. I don't know. What about this? Hand puppets. It is a church, you know. Maybe I ought to lead a song service or something. Maybe I should, I don't know, yeah, I'll collect an offering. That's it. Uh-oh, the pastor's waving at me. He looks kind of agitated. Maybe it's time to leave. And there's somebody backstage who looks like they're holding out a $10 bill for me just to kind of get me off the stage. But you know, I enjoy this. Next year, I'm holding out for a 3-act.
Dear Gabriel, I must get this report written and sent off to you by Hart, our newest herald angel. My assignment has been carried out, and as far as I know, there was no slip-up. Let me give you a fast rundown on how it went. First of all, the Heavenly Host Choir had been a bit nervous. When we flew over the target area, the fields to the north of Bethlehem, A few hundred sopranos became confused and positioned themselves in the fields in the south of Bethlehem. Well, you can imagine how that would have ruined the whole stereo effect if their glory to gods were coming from the wrong direction. That was the only near hitch in the plan. The weather was almost perfect. There was a cloud in the sky and the stars were at their brightest. I don't think the morning star has ever been lovelier. Gabriel, I wish you could have seen the way the moonlight made David's old city look. Look as if it had been newly whitewashed for the occasion. Every dome and spire glistened, and the gates reflected every star in heaven. When the altos finally had finished working to the Peace on Earth chorus, I busied myself with our audience. There must have been a dozen or so shepherds asleep in their bedrolls, and I couldn't have counted more than one or two keeping watch over their flock. I heard one of them say that he'd never seen the sky so full of stars. I wonder if he ever realized that thousands of those so-called stars were in reality our halos. When the altos finally finished working through their difficulties, and everyone was positioned for the best effect, we waited breathlessly for the signal that the baby had made his entrance into their world. Sure enough, a handful of stars moved together and shone as one great fiery light. That was our signal. I slowly counted to 10, and then stepped through the firmament into their world. At long last, I spoke the words that Father God himself had scripted for me. Behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior who is Christ the Lord. Oh, Gabriel, you should have seen those shepherds. They were so frightened. Even their sheep huddled together in fear. When they finally collected their wits, I continued my announcement. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes lying in a manger. And then, Gabriel, that is when the heavenly host delivered their magnificent message. Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth, goodwill toward men. What a moment of rejoicing. How those shepherds reacted. In their confusion, I detected a spirit of joy and anticipation. Gabriel, can you believe this? At that moment, I wish I were one of God's human creations. How I would have liked to join in with the shepherds in the rejoicing over the birth of the King.
Around the tree. La 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 la, come on and dance with me.
Christmas to come to you. He's the one who came to make all things new.
For the truth of Christmas is found in Jesus the Lord. Come adore Him.
He is here this Christmas. I worship you, and I humbly bow as those wise men did, and I bring my worship unto the King of all kings. This Christmas, that's why His praises I sing.
Jesus is His name. Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born,
Prince of Peace to reign.
Jesus is His name. Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born. Jesus is His name. Jesus is His name. Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born. Prince of Peace to reign. Jesus is His name. Oh, Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born. Jesus is His name. Oh, unto us a child is born. Jesus is His name. Well, unto us a child is born. Jesus, my blessed Savior, is His Jesus is His name. Oh, Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born, and Prince of Peace to reign. Jesus is His name. Yes, Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born. Jesus is His name. Well, unto us a child is born. Jesus is His name. Unto us a child is born, Jesus, my blessed Savior, is
It's all set. I'll just stand right here under this mistletoe and wait for the first lucky young lady to be rewarded for her excellent good fortune and timing. Yes, sir, this is it, girls. This is your lucky chance. But remember, no pushing and no taking cuts. What's this? I think I hear a crowd rushing in right now. Yes, that's it. A crowd rushing in right now. Right now, a crowd is rushing in. The others must have been caught at the light. So, Sandy, do you notice anything special about where I'm standing?
Yeah, you're standing in my way.
No, silly. The mistletoe. I'm standing under the mistletoe.
Oh, yeah, so you are. It doesn't give much shade, does it? See you later.
Maybe it's defective. That's it. I'll write a letter and complain. The mistletoe quality control people have been falling down on their job. But wait, I think I hear thundering footsteps of the masses, even as I speak. That's it. The thundering footsteps of the masses, even as I speak. Obviously wearing noisy shoes.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind. So, Janelle, do you notice anything remarkable about where I'm standing?
Yeah, you're not in front of a mirror.
I can't believe this. I'm being abandoned under the most romantic plant in the world. I mean, this just isn't anyone standing up here. This is Stephen the Stud. Where's my usual stampede?
Hi.
Oh, hi, Joni.
Hey, isn't that a mistletoe you're standing under?
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna get my money back.
Why? Doesn't it work?
Well, let's just say I've seen bigger crowds at volunteer tax audits.
Maybe you're trying too hard. Maybe you should just be yourself.
Hey, I'm the same terrifically handsome guy that I've always been.
No, I mean your real self. Who you are deep down inside.
Nobody cares about that.
God does.
What do you mean?
He knows the real Stephen. The Stephen who sometimes feels lonely.
I didn't feel lonely until I stepped under this mistletoe.
And the Stephen who pretends to have it all under control. Even when he's feeling a little lost and frightened. He knows him too.
I didn't think anybody knew that, Stephen.
God does, and he cares about him very much.
So what you're saying is God cares about me, mistletoe or not.
Well, something like that. But just to prove it's not defective.
Hey, that stuff works pretty good. Maybe I should freeze dry some for the rest of the year. Or better yet, I'll make a suit out of it. Or maybe even in
A sure case of mistletoe overexposure if I've ever seen one.
If I ever see one more dish, I think I'm gonna... Why can't somebody make a dish out of something that doesn't have to be washed? Yeah. Oh, hello. Excuse my complaining, I'm not really like this, but ever since my husband bought this run-down, moth-eaten inn, it's been nothing but... I mean, look at these hands. Look at these nails. Business has been pretty good, I must admit, though. When Caesar Augustus called for a census, Charlie, that's my husband, Charlie says, more taxes. That may be true, but the way the descendants of David are filling this place up, it ought to be a pretty good month. There must be a whole garrison of soldiers up there. They've come in to oversee the census. Oh, my feet. I have been up and down those stairs so many times, I don't even know if my ankle bone is connected to my foot bone or whatever that song says. All right, I'll be there, Charlie, I'll be there. Honestly, men. Oh, where was I? Oh, yes. Hands me this Roman soldier, hands me 2 pieces of silver, tells me to go out and check on his horse outside the barn. Well, normally I'd have my son Michael do that, but 2 pieces of silver? What's that, Charlie? You're putting who? Where? A husband and wife in the stable? And she's what? Oh, Charlie. Charlie, you can't do that. Now we're putting guests in the barn. And she's expecting a baby any day. I don't know what this world's coming to, but I've got to go check on that officer's horse. A husband and wife in a stable. And a baby to be born in our barn. Maybe we could use a little more love around this place.
G is for tinsels that we hang upon the tree. M is for many blessings that it gives to me. S is for the snow that falls so white and pure and clean. I is for the icicles that decorate the sea. A is for the angels who announce his holy birth. M is for the manger that became his bed on earth. R is for rejoicing as both heaven and nature sing.
H is for the happiness that baby Jesus brings.
E is for the Easter star that shines so clear and bright. S is for the shepherds who watch our flock by night. R is for the word of birth, the Son of God is He. Y is for the young child who is born to set men free. R is for remembering of what it is we sing. C is for the Christ of Christmas, let His praises ring.
What happened? Did you guys all get your letters mixed up?
Of course, we can't spell yet.
I knew something like this was gonna happen.
Yeah, we should have just stuck to the spelling Noel. It would have been much easier.
Well, it's too late now. Maybe the audience didn't notice.
I don't know, something like this is pretty hard to ignore.
Still gotta wish them a Merry Christmas. And how can we possibly do that when we're too busy wishing them a Tismia Murahizri?
Is that what you're worried about? That's no problem. Wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
All right. I'm impressed. But now how are we gonna wish them a Happy New Year?
Happy New Year. 'Cause 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 'c
Oh,
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Oh, how you doing? Oh,
Good to see you
Rex,
here.
what are you doing tomorrow? Oh, don't tell me, Rex, that this is the end of the line.
Boy, it is unless you can get everybody doing about face.
I'm willing to do anything if it gets the line short. Let's try it, right? Now, this.
No, didn't work. Didn't work.
Well, Rex, I didn't expect the line to be able to dip the floor than the cash register.
Oh, man, you should see it when it's crowded around here.
I can tell it's not your most favorite time of the year either, huh? Out this gift buying and all that, huh?
No, I hate all the pushing and the shoving and the downright rudeness.
Well, it looks like it's pretty calm over here.
I know. The security guard came by a few minutes ago and told me to stop it.
Rex, so what's that you're buying?
I don't know, but it's exactly what I was looking for.
Well, what's it do?
Who knows, but it's perfect.
Wait a minute. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it does. What are you buying it for?
Revenge. I'm buying it for always buys me worthless junk like this.
You always put that kind of love in each gift you buy, buddy.
If I didn't love her, I wouldn't go to this much trouble just to get even.
I used to do the same thing, buy that stuff from Patty, but this year I promised her that real nice iron. got it at a bargain place. This is going to be great. She'll love it. You know, she wants me to pump iron, so this is home way. Man, I can't get over how long this line is.
Oh man, if you get everybody to turn sideways and hold hands, we could make a fundraiser out of this.
I knew going to church would pay off sooner or later. Right. Ah, that's great. Now, seriously, how long has this line been here?
See that lady up there behind the stroller?
Oh, yeah, she looks familiar.
Yeah, when she first got in line, she was riding in it.
Must have been a beautiful baby, that's all I can say. Just goes to show, Rex, everybody waits till the last minute to do their Christmas shopping.
Yeah, I know. I drove around this mall 6 times looking for a parking place. I was going to drive around the 7th, but I was afraid the walls of J.C. Penney come tumbling down.
Finally parked.
In the driveway, drove all the way home, walked all the way back.
That's not bad. It's the old gut down, get you your daily exercise and all that stuff.
Are you kidding? As far away as I live, I've been walking since Tuesday.
Well, I hope then that crazy gift is it. You're all done, all right?
MasterCard says I am.
At your limit, eh?
Yep. I said, MasterCard, take me away. And they said, one more purchase, we're going to.
You know, I've used those credit cards so much, I've running those machines over those numbers so many times that those old numbers, they're just about getting bald. Rex, I don't know. Why do we do this kind of stuff?
No payment due till February.
I don't know that. I mean, why do we stand in these long lines at the mall and for the bargain sales and all that stuff? I mean, and put up with all this stuff. I remember when Deck the Halls was a song they sang and not what took place in the malls.
Times have changed.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I was just reading that Christmas calendars now how Harry Mason's getting so dangerous out there.
Christmas carolers. Now there's a different breed. Last guy that came to my door singing "Let Us Know" was the gas man turning off my heat for non-payment.
Oh man, what's happened to the spirit of Christmas?
Boy, I don't know. This tends to lose something when you got to roast your chestnuts in the microwave.
We got to do something. We got to get the spirit of Christmas back.
How?
Well, you know, by remembering the day, how important it is. You know, this is a birthday celebration too important to be rushed. And Jesus isn't too important of a king to be forgotten.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we do get so caught up with Christmas we tend to leave Christ out of it.
Sad, but it's really often true, isn't it?
Oh, wow. I can't believe it. Oh, man. So are you two guys, are you like, are you like in line?
Well, I guess that's what you could call
call it, man, but actually I'd say right about now, Rich and I, we just finally got our priorities and ourselves perfectly lined up.
Hail Mary, you are highly favored, and the Lord has sent me to say, she shall conceive and bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. He shall be great, the Son of the Highest.
expect me to believe all this, do you?
But Joseph, we've been chosen. We've been
Well,
blessed.
it's not we've been, but it's you've been, and with who that has me bothered. And then to have the nerve to blame it on some angels and a vision in the night.
What are we going to do?
Well,
What are you going to do?
well, I'm not going to embarrass you. Maybe we'll just send you off to the relatives for a while. Then in a year or two, I'll just tell people it just didn't work out. Anyway, it's late, Mary. Good night.
And that night, a voice broke the restless silence of Joseph's dreams. Joseph, child of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because the little one in her is not from any man, but from the Holy Spirit. Remember the words you learned from Isaiah, that a virgin would conceive. She will bear that child, that son, and you will name him Jesus, because he is the very one who will save his people from their sins.
Jesus. How I love that name. How I love that precious name. That matchless name above all names. The name of Jesus. Our lives will change by the wonder of that glorious name. Forevermore the same. The name
day of January, the big parades begin of folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On February 2nd, deferred payments are due. In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the third day of March, the trash man finally takes your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 4th day of April, you write off as a loss your Christmas tithe.
Your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 5th day of May, the Christmas lights come down. Finally,
Your Christmas tithe.
your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 6th day of June, all your Christmas guests just now are leaving.
Your Christmas tithe.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 7th day of July, pre-Christmas sales begin. MasterCards are calling.
Yes, now are leaving.
Your Christmas tithe.
Your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 8th day of August, your warranties expire. Gifts now are breaking.
MasterCards are calling.
Yes, now are leaving.
At last.
Your Christmas tithe.
Use it for firewood.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 9th of September, you write your Christmas list. Nobody's on it.
Gifts now are breaking.
MasterCards are calling.
Yes, now are leaving.
No more lights.
Your Christmas tithe.
Your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 10th of October, my Christmas club account just earned a penny. Nobody's on it.
This one's for you.
MasterCards are calling.
Yes, now are leaving.
Finally. That gum tree.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 11th of November, you simply cannot find those gifts that you've been hiding.
Just earned a penny. Nobody's on it.
Gifts now are breaking.
MasterCards are calling.
Yes, now are leaving.
Your dry tree.
In debt again.
And folks taking Christmas gifts back.
On the 12th of December, it all starts once again. The pushing and the shoving.
Just earned a penny. Nobody's on it.
I just want to reach out and touch somebody.
Yes, now are leaving.
Your Christmas tithe.
If I don't come get it tomorrow, Myrtle, I'm calling the mayor.
like this.
It doesn't.
Not if, on the 26th of December, we bow our hearts to say, Lord, happy birthday.
You know, she's right. Christmas is more than just gifts of surprise.
And the two words we should be hearing are Merry Christmas, not Sergeant.
Yeah, Christmas is far more special than that.
Far more special indeed.
So,
On Christmas morning this year we'll bow our hearts to say, Lord, have a happy birthday.
I know.
Hello. I'm Joseph, and I suppose most of you know who I am. But what you may not know is that my name means he shall add wisdom. You see, most of our Hebrew names have meanings, like Mary's name means spiritually aware. How appropriate that name is for her. You know, there's been a lot of curiosity has sprung up ever since they heard that Mary was pregnant. All over the place, as there always is. One of the first questions they always come up to me and ask, if it's a boy, will he be named Joseph? Well, my reply is no. It won't be Joseph. It'll be Jesus, Yeshua, Emmanuel, God with us. And they ask, but nobody in your family's named Yeshua. I said, I know, but his name will be called Yeshua. That's the name the angels gave him. And who am I, a lowly carpenter, to argue with the angels? You know, it does seem like an awfully big name for such a little boy, though. Yeshua. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but my name means he shall have wisdom, and I'm sure it'll help someday. You know, I really don't think I could have made it through all these times if it hadn't have been for God making my love for Mary, and especially the trust for Mary, as strong as it is. I just thank him for that strength that he needs. You know, I wonder if I'll be able to teach him about working with wood. He couldn't have a better teacher. But somehow I think when it's all said and done, that he'll teach me a lot more than I could ever teach him. We'll call him Yeshua. He'll come to this earth to save people from their sins. I wonder how he'll do that. Well, anyway, Lord Yeshua, wherever you are, I'm going to be very, very happy to be your Father.
Are you a prophet?
Hi. I hope you've enjoyed the first half of our program. We're going into just a little bit of an intermission now. The Bolshoi Jazz Band is going to be performing for us, and while they're setting up, I'd like to read you a story. This is a story that was written 30 years ago this Christmas by my mom and published in the Free Methodist Sunday School paper that year. It's called 88-Cent Christmas. I picked up my Women's Missionary Society program book and turned to the page for the December meeting. The meeting was the next day, and I wanted to check on the roll call. Each month it's different. Give an answer to a prayer you've received, or what's your favorite Bible promise? Or it might be something especially appropriate to the month, like name one blessing for which you're thankful for the month of November. I don't especially like to be caught without warning, and sure enough, there it was under December, the Christmas I remember best. Well, this was quite an assignment. After all, there had been quite a few Christmases, and I can't think of one that didn't bring the glad thrill of rejoicing in the Savior's birth, or joyousness and love. My mind flew back across the years. There were all the thrilling, happy Christmases of early childhood, the list as long as your arm, the happy anticipation, the seemingly endless waiting for that magic day to arrive. Then there was a Christmas when I was still very young, perhaps 5 or 6, and amidst all the preparations for Christmas, the idea suddenly came to me that I too could give gifts to my family instead of being exclusively on the receiving end. I visited the candy store, the scene of most of my shopping experiences at that early date, and there with vast satisfaction and pride, I chose a gift for each member of my family from among the dazzling array of penny candies. My happiness and excitement as the family opened my gifts to them was scarcely second to my happiness in my own gifts. For many years, my father kept in his desk the tiny little glass vial that had been filled with little cake candies, which was undoubtedly my first gift to him. That Christmas, I'm sure, meant something more to me as I began to learn, in a small way, that there was real joy in giving as well as in receiving. I remember another Christmas, some years later, when as a young bride of a few months and some 2,000 miles from my parental home, we spent our first Christmas in our own home. A wonderful Christmas, tinged just a little bit with homesickness, but special in the new family relationship and in the new home. And the next Christmas, there was a bright-eyed baby boy to add to our joy. He was too small to know what it was all about, but his bright blue eyes took in the lights and sparkling balls on the tree, and his big smile seemed to say that he much approved of things in general. I secretly felt that there had never been such a baby before. At least I'd never seen one. He made that Christmas something special for his parents. How the years do fly by. I thought of recent Christmases, children all grown, and a whole flock of little folk of a new generation to spend Christmas with Grandma and Grandpa. What precious, happy memories those later years bring. The Christmas I remember best. What should it be when there are so many memories? Then I remembered a Christmas years ago, and I knew this was the one. I called it my 88-cent Christmas. Our 4 children were all small. Bobby, our firstborn, was 7, and the only one of the 4 yet in school. The girls were 5-year-old Susan, Beth, who was 3, and Linda the baby, not yet a year old. My husband John had felt God's call to the ministry, and even with a family to support, had somehow managed to finish school. Now he was through, and we had our first charge in a small town in Oregon. We thought the hardest part was behind us, but we hadn't reckoned with the Depression. Of course, we'd read about it in the big eastern cities, and things were tightening up a bit, but somehow it seemed remote and not too ominous. Then the lumber mills, the main industry in our little community, began to slow down. Not all at once. First they cut down to 4 days a week, and then to 3. John was on a free will offering basis, and of course we felt it in the offerings. Then many of the men were laid off entirely, and those who were left working worked only 2 days a week. We didn't blame the people. They just couldn't get what they didn't have. The situation was critical, not only in our home, but in the whole community and indeed in the whole nation. I've tried to tell my children about those days, but they simply don't know what I'm talking about. John would have gone to work, but of course there was no work to be had. The way we managed to keep our children fed would make a story in itself. David says, I have been young, and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. And it's true. Our children never even knew they were living in hard times, or that Mommy and Daddy were having a hard time keeping food on the table. We did without many things we would have liked, but God supplied our every real need. John had a chance to cut cordwood at wages paid by the court, which figured out to the magnificent sum of 15 cents an hour. He was also able to go to the woods for our own wood for cooking and heating. And we had a cow. I bless old Betsy's memory every time I think of her. We had bought her before the mills closed down, and I remember sending Bobby to deliver milk to neighbors who didn't have a cow of their own at 5 cents a quart. Often they didn't have 5 cents, but they did have something that they would exchange for something we needed. Jack Morehouse at the feed store gave us some greens swept up from the floor and from broken sacks in exchange for his milk. After all, we had to feed old Betsy if she was going to feed us. We lived in a place where nature was kind and our large garden produced in abundance. There were vegetables of almost every kind, and berries and fruit were plentiful. That garden and old Betsy really kept us going. We ate from the garden all summer and canned all sorts of things, and stored potatoes and carrots and onions and squash and apples in the cellar for winter. Our children thought breakfast meant big bowls of oatmeal, and they hardly knew there was such a thing as store-bought bread. Our old dog sat sadly in the backyard most of the time. Her tires were thin and her gas tank was usually empty. We certainly put our Shanks mares to good use in those days, and only on the most important and necessary occasions was the car taken out. That was the situation as Christmas of 1934 approached. I wanted a nice Christmas for the children with a tree and toys. I didn't mind doing without personally if the children didn't have to be disappointed. I guess I hadn't quite learned yet how very little it takes to make a child happy, and how much more important some other things are, such as a Christian home, and a mother and dad who love them, and a baby sister to play with. Anyway, John and I talked it over, and when he saw how important this was to me, he agreed that I might have $1 to spend on Christmas. So I made my plans and went to work. By Christmas time, I had 27 gifts by actual count. I started with things for the children, a broomstick horse with a head made from an old sack, rag dolls for the girls, blocks sanded smooth from blocks of wood, bean bags with acorns substituted for beans, a wooden wagon for Bobby. John made that out of the wood pile, and I think all 4 children played with it before it finally gave out. I spent my money for a little paint for the wooden toys, a few nails, a spool or 2 of thread, a 5-cent box of color crayons to go with the color book made of wrapping paper. When Christmas finally came, I still had 12 cents left from that dollar, hence my 88-cent Christmas. Well, once I got started, I didn't just stop with the children. I couldn't bear that any that we got should be left out when there was so little for anyone. My scrap bag held out, and from it emerged aprons, pincushions, pillow tops, and tea towels. Empty and bleached salt and sugar sacks became the men's handkerchiefs with an initial embroidered in the corner. Uncle, aunts, cousins, grandmas, grandpas, there was something for each one. And as we worked, we found a new and tender love in our hearts for each one of them. Christmas Eve came. The children were enthralled with the tree, which we had brought home from the woods and decorated. The packages had been opened, and they couldn't have been more delighted if we had had a appointed department in town. On Christmas Day, John's folks came for dinner. Mine still lived too many hundreds of miles away to come for any of the holiday affairs. Grandpa told the children the sweet Christmas story again, bringing it down to that little child level that they loved. Grandma helped me with dinner. We had a fat hen roasting. John had carefully culled them, and this one lost her head for failing to cooperate in the egg-laying business. There would be candied carrots. They're almost as good as sweet potatoes. Fluffy mashed potatoes and gravy, and pumpkin pie with whipped cream, thanks to good old Betsy. We were nearly through with the meal when baby Linda suddenly made a choking sound.
I looked quickly at her in her high chair. She was still gripping the drumstick bowl in her hand, and her face was already red. I knew at once that she had gotten a piece loose from the end of the bowl, though I thought I'd removed that dangerous piece before giving it to her. I quickly picked her up and with my finger tried to find the offending particle, but it was too small and too far down to reach. By now the meal had come to an abrupt halt. The other children stood about frightened and silent. John slapped Linda on the back in an effort to dislodge the piece of bone or gristle. By now she was livid and gasping for breath. "Oh, John," I cried, "we'll have to get her to a doctor. We have to go." "No," John answered, "we'd never make it in time. We need help, but we've got to have it here and now." And suddenly he started to pray. Grandma and Grandpa joined them. My own heart cried out with theirs, and Linda was turning blue in the face, and her labored breathing seemed to stop, and her little body went limp. Then, while John was still praying, I picked her up again and held her upside down by her plump little legs. And as though we'd planned it, Grandma reached over and slapped her sharply on the back. Instantly, the piece of gristle flew out of her mouth into the floor, and we heard her gasp as the fresh, life-giving air rushed into her lungs. The crisis was over as suddenly as it had started. I turned her right side up and held her close, the tears of relief and thanksgiving rolling down my cheeks. Everyone else had to have their turn, and soon afterwards she was sleeping peacefully in her crib, exhausted from her ordeal, but perfectly okay. That night the children were bedded down early, tired from their big day and all the excitement. Grandma and Grandpa left for home and we prepared for bed. We had too much on our hearts and minds to be sleepy, but we were more tired hard all day. We stopped to look at the children and to see that they were well covered. They lay sleeping quietly, peachy and healthy. Last of all, we stopped by Linda's crib, and as we gazed at her, we knew that God had almost taken her and then returned her back to us. My heart was almost too full for words, but I had to speak them. "Oh, John, how could I have thought we were poor when we really are so rich? We have the Savior in our hearts. We have each other, and the children and shelter and food to eat. What more is there to want? Oh, yes, and I still have 12 cents for my Christmas dollar. So you see, we really had more than we needed." John's hand found mine as he quoted softly, "For the kingdom of God is not food and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost. And a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things that he possesses. We may lack some of the things, but we have all the things that really matter." So that's my choice for roll call. The Christmas I remember best.
Efficient crew. Thank you.
Dad.
Have you had a good time so far? I think I've heard you laughing. Enjoying yourself. Yeah, there we go. When we were putting together the program, Vern and I came across a piece that we thought just fit so well into what we were doing. And he had some of his kids from his band that he took to Russia come up to him and say, "We'd like to do something, we'd like to play." So we got to thinking about it, and this piece that they're about to perform is the song that they put together. Now Vern has done a great job. You guys played great last night. Look at it, they knew it. I don't have to tell them. No humility in your family, you've got it all. No pride in it.
Not at all.
You didn't want to put that on the video. Oh, okay. Well, we want to thank you for coming. We're going to, when the Bolshoi band is finished playing, we're going to ask you if you'd like to stand up for just a couple of minutes as we get set up for the second half of the program. But without further ado.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce the band. Tim, this is Heidi. Heidi, this is Dominic. Dominic, this is Heather. Heather, this is Louie. Louie, this is Angie. And never mind. Okay. That's an old musician joke, okay? It's older than these kids, so they don't get it yet, but that'll be all right. And for those who don't know, Bolshoi just means big. Okay, that's big in Russian. So if you're the Bolshoi ballet, that's the big ballet. Okay? And Actually, these guys didn't go, but we went. And like I said, we went to the restaurant last year, and we're going to try to find our way through this song tonight. So here we go.
Oh, may I help you? Yes, this is the customer complaint department. Why, yes, it is. Good. I'd like to file a customer complaint. Oh, good. Let me see. Now, which of our many fine products did not meet your satisfaction? Oh, I don't want to file a complaint about a product, so I want to file a complaint about a customer. We don't... This is the customer complaint department, isn't it? Yes? Well, good. I'm here to file a customer complaint. About her. And I'm counter-filing. Look, young lady. Obscene. Obscene? Well, what would you call it when someone throws themselves across a sales rack and cries, I regret I have but one life to give for a bargain. This is Christmas Eve. These are desperate times. Oh, babies, come on. You obviously each found something that you like. You have a beautiful blouse, and that's just a lovely skirt. This used to be a dress. Well, she wouldn't let go of it. I let go of it when the police came. The police? I don't see why they were called in. The National Guard. Just fun. The National Guard? I think maybe you had better start at the beginning and tell me really what happened, okay? Okay, well, you see, I was in housewares and minding my own Christmas shopping business when all of a sudden an announcement came over the PA explaining that all dresses in the ladies' room were going on sale. Well, as usual, I started hyperventilating right next to the juicers. And as soon as I composed myself, I calmly walked over to the ladies' room. She slid down the escalator. I calmly slid down the escalator. She knocked down 24 shoppers along the way. I said, excuse me. Not to that point, you knocked unconscious. She was a mannequin. Now. You know, it's really a time for peace and love. And last-minute bargains. It's a time for giving. Then why doesn't she give me back the bottom half of my dress? It's a time for showing goodwill to men. Hey, the men were just fine. That way. You know, ladies, maybe it would be good if we just showed the spirit of the season and we could just forget this whole... Come on, the spirit of Christmas. Yeah, but what about the police report? Well, I think I can take care of that. And the National Guard? Well, they're pretty used to Christmas sales. Yeah, but what about the president? He was called? Luckily, he just had his answering machine on. Oh, well, what a deal. I'll just call and leave another messages. So, what do you say, ladies? Truce? Come on, truce?
Attention Nordstrom shoppers. In our men's department, for a limited time only, shirts and sweater vests are on sale now, 25% off.
You know what they say, if you can't beat them, you're not running fast enough.
Martha, I'm going out to clear away the snow now. I don't want anyone coming to the Christmas concert tonight to slip and fall. That wouldn't make for a very Merry Christmas. He was here again last night, and now he's left his cap. You know, it isn't usual for a little boy to be out on the streets all alone at night. He must be barely 9 years old. I've seen this little boy before. He always wears his same red stocking cap pulled down over his ears. same grimy sneakers, the same tattered jacket. Several times I've tried to speak to him, trying to find out who he was. But each time he just looked up at me with those same solemn eyes, that same grim mouth. You could just see he didn't trust me. Without a word, he ran off down the street and disappeared. I saw him again last night. The snow had been falling all day. I was standing in my office trying to measure the snowfall, calculating how much shoveling I was going to have to do before the people arrived at the concert tonight. The street was deserted. The church was dark. A single street lamp shone through the foggy night. You could just see the reflection of the light on the ice that had formed on the top of the snow as the temperature had dropped below freezing again. The only bright spot shone from the manger scene in the churchyard. Then it was that I saw him again, with his unmistakable hat. His cheeks and nose were almost as red as the hat that he wore from the cold. As I watched, he timidly walked across the snow toward the church windows. He seemed for a long moment to stand there and look. There was a deep longing in his eyes. I wondered if this child had any parents. Had he ever known the love and affection of a father? He seemed to be looking at something, as if he saw something that wasn't really there. Maybe he was just lost in imagination, dreaming about what that first Christmas would have been like. Or maybe he didn't even know what it was he was looking at. I don't know. But I do know that this little boy was drawn to that manger scene that night because of the love of God. Because of the love he yearned for and had never known. A warm and tender touch he had never experienced. Suddenly, he crawled in the manger and curled up in the straw. Every now and then someone would pass by on the street, but no one seemed to notice the little boy curled up under the gentle gaze of Mary. Once in a while, when no one was passing by, a little arm would reach up, and small fingers would gently caress the cheek of the baby, and then the mother. Perhaps he was just fascinated by the figures that stood before him. Or maybe it was deeper than that. After all, here was a mother who cared for her child, and a father who was there when his family needed him. Who knows where this little boy's father was as he roamed the streets at night? Here was a family to belong to. There was no rejection here. Maybe it was just make-believe. But for these few moments, he could pretend to be truly loved. Something startled him. Oh, he was so quick. In a flash, he was up, across the snow, and down the street. He simply disappeared into the night. I felt... You can imagine how I felt. It was as though I had been given a momentary glimpse into the life and the heart of a lonely child. I felt utterly helpless. All I could do was offer a prayer that somehow God had reached him. That somehow the Christ child had managed to comfort him. That Mary's unperturbed tenderness and unchanging expression of love had somehow worked as a light to the Christ child. A pathway of light to God's unconditional love. Do we not look up into empty heavens with brave eyes which conceal anxious hearts? And do we not reach out in our imaginations with aching fingers, longing to touch the loving cheek of God? Every Christmas I know I'll think of that little boy. I wonder what will become of him. Perhaps somewhere, someone will reach out to him. No, let them hold him as he saw Mary hold her little child. Maybe he'll even reach out his hand to God. It's you!
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, of course it is, son. Of course it's you. You know, I was just thinking about you. Well, I bet I do, Egghead. I'll bet you want it back. It's cold out here, isn't it?
Nope, I'm not cold.
You're not cold? Not even just a little bit? I think it's cold. Here you go. Something else?
Who are these people?
Oh, I was hoping that was it. But let me tell you, this is the most important thing we have in our life. hadn't come, what would this moment hold for you? If Jesus hadn't come, what would you think of this little boy who grew up to die, to save wretched sinners like you and like I? What if he hadn't come to die? What if he hadn't come? But he did come. And that's wonderful news. But the very good news is he didn't stay a baby. That little child grew up and he experienced human life just like you and I experience human life. He showed God's great love to us. And then while we were yet sinners, he went to the cross and he died for us. The good news is he rose again on the third day. And you can have new life because of that. Just like the little boy asked, who are these people? Some of you may be asking, who is Jesus Christ? It's your decision. So it is up to you right now. Look deep into your soul. Ask him to change your life right now. Let him take full control. This moment, surrender to Jesus. He really wants for you to know he cares for you. So start your life anew. Just if you've been asking yourself that question, who is Jesus Christ? Any member of the choir or any number of people here tonight would like to talk to you. What we'd like for you to do, that little blue card that we have, on it there's a place for you to mark what your decision was tonight. If you would just do that for us, just take that card. You don't have to pass it in or anything. Nobody's going to bother you tonight. Just leave it on the pew. Because this is the most important decision you can make in your life. Whether or not to receive Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of your life. And what a wonderful way to spend Christmas this year. Your first year as a baby. How would some of you who are a little older like to be babies again? Wouldn't it be great? We can all be born again, new Christians, new babies in Christ. That's the best Christmas gift Jesus could receive this year, is to have your new life. Choir has another song that they would like to present to you. It's a reprise of one song before we go tonight. But I want to take just a minute and thank some of the people who have been so instrumental in getting this whole thing done. First of all, I want to have all the cast that's not already on the stage come on out. Are you guys back there this time? I forgot this last night. I felt stupid. Here they come. Where's Rex? Oh well. You guys all know Rex and Pastor and all those other guys. Weren't they good? We couldn't do it without the choir. And they were just done it without Vern Foskett. He has been a great help. Another guy that's just done, come on out here. You saw him earlier. Get it all in place. He had a great crew helping him. Pam Reagan did a super job. Here's one of our favorite shoppers here, and she also had the little earned a penny thing. Come on out here so they can see you. All right. And it says in your bulletin, most of all, we want to thank Pastor O'Connor, the church board, and the good people of the Port Orchard Church of the Nazarene for their support, their love, and without them it wouldn't have been possible, folks, because they have a vision and they believe God's working in this community. I do want to mention one other thing. If you've been noticing, there's a little Christmas tree back here. On that Christmas tree there are some very important little gift items that you could pick up and take. Our Young Ministry, Young and Middle Adult Ministry, has sponsored a Helpline family this year, and they are taking donations for food and gifts, as well as each one of those little cards is a representative of a gift to give, all the way from babies to senior adults that the Helpline knows about. If you'd like to help with that, we aren't taking an offering tonight. We have a little basket on the thing back there for you if you want to just drop $1 or so in there to help with the gift, or if you'd like to come up and... Oh, okay. If you'd like to come up and... Can't miss them, can we? And get one of those cards, we'd appreciate it. He just reminded me that I need to say something about the sound man. They're doing wonderful. And then for the blinding light back there. Roy, you did a good job blinding us all. Now the choir would like to just give you a Merry Christmas, and then you're dismissed when it's all over.
Come on, guys.
That's it, we're done.